so a whole generation has grown up not knowing about it. I think that one young person I talked to said it was like, nuclear weapons are part of the natural world. They're like the furniture in the room, right? And so it's a tough haul, because now I think people are starting to wake up and go, oh my God, what's going on here with U.S. North Korea, with Trump? But it's been going on all along. And so people don't have any context now to understand what's happening. And in the peace movement has become very fragmented and tired. And we're all asking each other, how come we can't mobilize people? And this is the discussion that's going on now nationally in the fragments of the peace and anti-nuclear movements.
And as they say, climate is hot.
But, I will say this, the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists it moved the hands of its doomsday clock up to 2.5 minutes to midnight in January, citing the twin existential threats posed by nuclear weapons and climate change. And that's the closest it's been since 1957.
Let's move on to the next question. Is that David?
Where's the switch, Larry?
Peggy, tell them where the switch is. It's on the side, isn't it?
Got it.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Actually, thank you for the thousands of hours that each of you has spent getting to this point. I've got a little news item, just because no one mentioned it, but recently, I think it was less than a month ago, a Soviet fellow died who'd actually prevented a nuclear war. And there was another fellow, also a Soviet, who died some years ago when there was a mistaken, it looked like the United States had fired some missiles towards the Soviet Union, and this fellow actually decided not to respond. And if he'd passed this information along, we might not be speaking here. That's the little news item. I came up with a little idea while I was listening to everybody and Peggy's question. Here's a model for something that might be of some value to get people re-energized, and that is, in California, we have this campaign to stop smoking, where there's ads on television, they're actually paid by a tax on the tobacco, that show how hideous smoking is. And the ads don't show up every day, and they don't show up every hour, but the combined set of these ads is having a tremendous effect. For those of you who are old enough, older than you, Sarah, the effect of smoking in California is dramatically different in this short lifetimes that we've had. And a constant campaign of ads that show what go on, maybe even something as dramatic as, have you ever seen the cigarette boxes in Canada? They show totally disfigured lungs on the cigarette packages. So it's not just a word warming, it's something that sticks you in the nose. Well, if you all recall, I'm going to add a little bit of gravity to my argument here, and that is, there was an entire presidential campaign that was won and lost on an ad that had to do with a nuclear mushroom cloud.
Did any of you want to respond? There wasn't really a question there. There was a suggestion.
Well, I could respond. That's very interesting, and I think that could, maybe work on the domestic level. But I guess where I would push back on that is, how is that going to make states, the government, really rethink their security strategy? So I think maybe to answer the other question initially posed too, like what can we do to move forward? There are some aspects that are promising. Like one is continuing to develop disarmament verification mechanisms.